الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وأعز المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين سيما بقية الله روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأذن في الناس بالحج في الناس بالحج يأتوك رجالا وعلى كل ضامر يأتين من كل فج عميق. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بأبي عبد الله الحسين عليه السلام. مؤمنين ومؤمنات, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts and increase our rewards as we continue to remember the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam and the calamities that came upon them, specifically Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family members and his companions. What an honor to be amongst those who are in one way or another supporting and helping the cause of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. It is such a rewarding act just to remember him or help in the advancement of his message in any way that we can is one of the most rewarding acts that we could be doing in this world. If we understand the mission and if we understand the goal of our lives. Many of us, or many humans, inshallah, none here, live life without much consideration or much reflection on the purpose of life, on the beginning and the end, and therefore what is happening here. Imam Ali alayhi salam, in a beautiful hadith, he says, God has mercy, or may God have mercy, rahimallah, could be a dua or could be a confirmation from the Imam, or both. A person who knows, first he says, who prepares for his grave. And then he says he knows the answer to those three questions. علم من أين وفي أين وإلى أين. Very simple, very short, yet very, very deep. Where from, where in, and where to. Where did we come from? And where are we in? And where are we heading to? If we know the answer to these three questions, very simple questions, yet if we know the answer to those three questions, we have acquired the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the Imam salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala. Beautifully put by the famous poet Mawlavi or Rumi. He says, it's been years, سالها فکر من این است و همه شب سخنم که چرا غافل از احوال دل خیشتنم. Why am I unaware of my reality, he says. از کجا آمده ام? Where did I come from? آمدنم بهر چه بود? Why did I come here? And he continues, به کجا می روم? Where am I heading to? Why do you not show me my destination, or my home rather? وطنم. He's asking to see his home. So he realizes, and we should all realize, that we're not home yet. This is a very important reflection. Where is home? If this is not home, therefore we should be working for the home that we are, inshallah, heading to. The mission of life, the purpose of life. Imam Baqir alayhi salam, narrating from Nabiullah Isa ala nabina wa alayhi salam, whatever we have as hadith from Isa alayhi salam narrated by Ahlul Bayt is confirmed. In other words, definitely, if we know that Ahlul Bayt did say that, then definitely Isa alayhi salam said that. Besides that, other things are subject to verification, when it comes to the Bible and so on. The Imam says that Isa alayhi salam described this world as a bridge. Ad-dunya qantaratun. It's a bridge. Therefore, he says, pass over it, but don't establish it. Don't make it your home. Don't consider it your final abode. It is sad that some treat this world as their final abode, as if there's nothing else beyond this. As if they're going to live forever and there's no transition to another world. If we realize the purpose, the goal of our life, then we will understand how significant it is to participate in majalis of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Because that is what connects us to our purpose of life. That is what helps us guarantee that we are on the right path, in the right direction. That is what helps us and guarantees for us that we have the good ending, husnul aqibah. One of the most important things that you and I should be reflecting on is, how do I depart this world? I was sharing with one of the mu'mineen earlier this afternoon a part of the hadith of Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He says, your intellect is never complete until you have 10 characteristics. He comes to the last one. He says, what do you know how significant this is? In other words, he's emphasizing this is the most important one. What is it, Yabna Rasulullah? He says, they don't look at anybody except that they say he is better than me. Huwa khayrun minni. One of our great scholars, when he analyzes this statement, he says some people might think, well, what if somebody is a drunk person? What if somebody is a non-Muslim? What if somebody is this or that or whatever? And I look at them and I think I'm better. No, don't think that. Because you don't know how he is going to end and how I am going to end. The ending is what matters. What we mark, the last part of the last page of our life. The ending of our life, the departure, how we mark, that is what matters. And these majalis help us do that. And I'll explain why. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I began with the ayah from Surah Al-Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Nabiullah Ibrahim ala nabina wa alayhi salam, he says to him, make a declaration amongst the people so that they can come to Hajj. وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ, not وَأَذِّن فِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا or وَأَذِّن فِي الَّذِينَ أَسْلَمُوا. No. وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ. Ahadith, numerous ahadith on this that have reached tawatur from both schools or all Muslim schools, major schools, Sunni, Shia, whichever sect you look into, they have spoken about this ayah and the ahadith about this ayah to confirm that Nabiullah Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he made that announcement, it was heard by the people of the world. How could that be? Heard with their physical ear right then and there? We don't know. And I'll explain what I mean by we don't know when we come to the call of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he called. According to one hadith, when he called, he made the adhan, announcement, calling people to come. For what? For Hajj. وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ. When he was told to do that, he said, Ya Allah, my voice cannot reach the world. He says, the response came to him, your responsibility is to make the call. It is our job to make it heard by all. And the hadith continues to describe that people in the realm of malakut, even in aslab al-rijal, meaning they were not even born yet, their nutfa was not even formed yet, even then they were made to hear it. And some people said labbaik, some people did not say. However many times they said labbaik, they get to go to Hajj. Hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says in that world, in that realm, however many times they said labbaik, they got to go, when they are in this world, they get to go to Hajj. And if they did not, they did not. They do not. In that alam, is it far-fetched? Let's read the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alastu, there is a word in Islamic theology or aqaid, it is referred to as alamul alast. Why? They are referring to the world where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created all human beings, He asked them a question in that realm. Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Lord? So they refer to it as alast. In that world, in the realm of creation, we're speaking before the physical existence, before being formed in this physical world. Every one of us was given that declaration, or was offered and gave that declaration. Alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala. Everybody said yes. The hadith explains that ayah. The hadith says some said it first, some said it last or later. And the first one who said it was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alihi. How they said it and when they said it and how firm they were in that world determined how they are in this world. This is alamul arwah, that in that realm. In that realm also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a covenant with the children of Adam. He reminds us of it in Surah Yasin. Alam a'ahad ilaykum ya bani Adama alla ta'budu ash-shaytan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. Did I not make you make a promise? Did I not get a promise from you, O children of Adam, that you should not obey? Ibadah here refers to obedience, not literally worshipping, but obedience, because obedience is worshipping. One cannot say, I worship God if they're not obedient to God. Allah ta'bud al-shaytan, that you do not obey shaitan. He is surely your clear enemy. إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ. When did that covenant happen? Every one of us was given that, or was offered that and made to make that promise. When? Also, before the realm of this physical world and existence in this physical world. In that same realm, in that same world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed certain declarations to happen. Now, did it happen before in the timeline of this world versus that world? I will not get into that too much tonight. I want to keep it brief, inshallah. But in that realm, time is not same as this world. In other words, it could be, as they call it, parallel universes happening at the same time. It doesn't have to be before and after. None of those have to be in terms of the time of this world. The time of this world is different to the time of before and time of after, akhirah. It's different. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-awwal and al-akhir at the same time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change, does He? We don't. All of His attributes are at the same time. Yeah? So what does huwa al-awwal wal-akhir mean? Some reflection there. Yeah. So when it comes to the realm of malakut, it is this time that we're speaking of is irrelevant. So don't think it was millions of years ago that you made that covenant. No, you made it currently. It's live. That covenant is live. Alastu bi rabbikum is live. And that is in fact ruh and its existence within us and the fitrah that is constantly within us talking to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is constantly guiding us. There are malaika constantly guiding us, helping us. Unfortunately, if we commit sins, we block them. And you know who we welcome? With dhunub? Shayateen. Ahsant. A hadith. With every sin, we are making a gate in our spiritual heart, not the physical heart, not the muscle. In the spiritual heart, we're making a gate for shayateen, for the devils to enter and whisper to us and deceive us and take us away from the right path. Therefore, that adhan from Nabiullah Ibrahim was for all. And it went. There is another call. A call from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Nabiullah Ibrahim called people. What does the ayah say? To come to Hajj? Let us reread the ayah together. وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ. They come to you. They come to you. Who? Waliullah. The Prophet. يَأْتُونَ لِلْحَجِّ. No. The ayah doesn't say they come to Hajj. They come to you. In other words, it is in submission to Waliullah. Even our response to Hajj, it is in submission to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If he didn't confirm it after the revelation of the Quran and Islam, if he didn't confirm any parts of the Hajj, we would dismiss it. They used to do Safa and Marwa before in Jahiliyyah. They used to do that. They used to walk Safa and Marwa. They did that. When the Prophet ﷺ came, people wondered, do we do it or do we not do it, Safa and Marwa? Especially because they had some idols on Safa and some idols on Marwa. Should we still do it? This is why the ayah was revealed, إِنَّ الصَّفَا وَالْمَرْوَةَ مِنْ شَعَائِرِ اللَّهِ فَمَنْ حَجَّ الْبَيْتَ أَوْ اعْتَمَرَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِ أَن يَطَّوَّفَ بِهِمَا. This is a confirmation of the term لَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِ. Same as those who are traveling. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, when you're traveling, you do qasr, and it's not optional. Somebody said, but the ayah says la junaha. The Imam said, well, the other ayah says la junaha about sa'i, and everybody has to do the sa'i. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirmed the call by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is through the wali of the time that Hajj is confirmed, and those who come in submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have to come through the wali of the time, through the imam of the time, whether it be a prophet who was imam, inni ja'iluka linnasi imama. Ibrahim alayhi salam reached that position, a leader for the people, and his call is for the people. When they come in submission to God through his wali, through his imam. That is how it happens. At the time of Rasulullah, if somebody came in Jahiliyyah and said, we did this before Islam, and we're going to continue doing this, even if you say no, are they still Muslim? They exited. Some people, interesting, Sheikh yudhkar, side notes. Some people at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even what he brought to them, they would disobey him with it when he gives them a different rule, specifically about Safar and breaking the fast. He was in a journey and he said, everybody break your fast, and it was the month of Ramadan. Some people said, no, we're not going to break our fast. Who prescribed it to them? Huh? And the one who did is telling them, break your fast. No, we're not going to do that. He said, these are al-usat. He brings the rule for them. He introduces it from God. Whatever he says is from God. In huwa illa wahyu yuha. Yet they disobeyed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, obedience to God happens through his wali, through the imam of the time. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he tells us that we need to be on as-sirat al-mustaqim, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, he tells us what? صراط الذين. You look for those. Some people, when they say, you just leave the Prophet and these wasila and so on, we don't need them. God, that's it, just God. God is telling you, come to me through those people. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. The path of those whom you have bestowed your blessings upon. God is telling us, awliya, anbiya, and النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين, represented in Karbala in Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his companions. This is the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the wali. Imam Hussein alayhi salam made a call, or some calls, similar to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And believe it or not, that call, just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made that call available for the people of the world, despite Ibrahim alayhi salam standing in Maqam Ibrahim, according to the hadith, he was in Maqam Ibrahim, he made that call. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, make that call. Some narrations say that maqam raised him to be as tall as one of the mountains in Mecca there. He was at that height. And he made that call. Now, that riwayah is speaking literally, physically, or on a different level. Allahu A'lam. Because, obviously, no matter how high he goes, the physical voice cannot travel the world in their normal means, in natural ways. Nonetheless, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the call of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, made it so loud that it transcends generations and nations and borders, and it goes from one generation to another, from one century to another, and it continues to go on and grow bigger. The Imam, salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, he asked for help. Some people, question that. Oh, is he weak? Why would he ask for help? They don't understand. The Imam is saying, help me, help you. Allow me to help you. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt represent the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his messenger as rahmatan lil alameen. He is the merciful. He sends a messenger of rahmah, nabiyyur rahmah. Isn't that what we recite in dua tawassul? Binabiyyika nabiyyur rahmah. The prophet of mercy. And be careful of the distortions of the history made by the khulafa after the prophet to justify their actions, because anything that does not fit within the concept and definition of mercy is definitely fabrication against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anything. And we have researchers and historians who have researched and confirmed that anything that is against the nature of a merciful individual is definitely a fabrication against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sent him as a mercy, Nabiyyur Rahmah. And the Imams of Ahlul Bayt are also representation of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this world, to this ummah. Therefore, just like God puts a law for you and I to obey Him, to worship Him, and if we obey Him and we worship Him, He rewards us here and in the hereafter. And if we disobey, we start seeing the consequences here before the hereafter. That's a reality. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. You turn away from God's law, you will suffer here before the hereafter. And then in the hereafter, one would be gathered blind. He says, why? قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى. And the rest of the ayat. Therefore, reward and punishment happen here before the hereafter. Why? God is not harmed by our disobedience. It's the human family who's harmed. God does not benefit from our obedience and worshiping. It's you and I and collectively humanity who benefits from worshiping and being good. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His mercy sent His messenger to sacrifice His life and the lives of His loved ones, the most loved ones, to sacrifice them for humanity collectively to be good, to be godly, to be on the right path, for our own benefits. Therefore, on the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam stood calling the enemy and saying it again and again, is there anyone who wants to help us for their sake? هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من معين يعيننا هل من ذاب يذب عن حرم رسول الله. There are 5 titles the Imam, or 5 things he asked for, and in each of those some people fall in 1, some people fall in 2, some people fall in 3, 4 or 5 categories. Not everybody can achieve all of them. Some do. If we even achieve one of them, it would suffice, though we should aspire for more and better. The Imam called, and his helpers, فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ. Some were before, historically before Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Some after him. Some were martyred and were sacrificed for his sake and for his cause. And some are waiting, and it might happen today for some, it might happen later on. The concept of Nusra and being amongst Ansarul Imam Hussein alayhi salam is not stopped, is not finished. To think it's over. The statement that we say in majalis, Ya laytana kunna ma'akum, also a quick reflection on this ayah. Yes, the ayah is revealed in the Quran in a place from the words of some people who had the opportunity to be with the believers and to help and be amongst those who achieved the great victory, and they did not. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemns them for their statement, Ya laytana. Nevertheless, the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, they say, if you really genuinely wish to have been with them, then say this, from your heart say this, and you will be with them. Ya laytana kunna ma'akum fanafuza fawzan azima. It is open for us. In our own way, today we can be amongst the helpers and supporters of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Some people got to help, or they get to, today, they get to help the Imam. However, there is the mu'in. A mu'in is a helper that helps for a specific cause, for a specific time. Linguistically, the Imam is not repeating the same thing again and again. Every one of the words applies to something, or some title, some position. One who is mu'in, a mu'in is able to help one who helps. If I tell you, can you help me finish this task? And you help me, this is i'ana, mu'in. Some get to do that. They fall short in other things, and I'll explain. Some go beyond that. Some are mughith. The Imam also said, هل من مغيث يغيثنا. Mughith is one who doesn't just help in tasks, but when there is some difficulty, they come and rush to the help in difficult times. One who is, for example, drowning, and you realize somebody's drowning. Now or one is in fire, walayadu billah. Somebody is in fire. A house is on fire, and you go and help them. Okay? You see that you can help them, you can get them out of the trouble they're in. This is ighatha. This is another title, great title. There is another one, which is the concept of dhab. Hal min dhabbin. Dhabbin comes from one who is able to remove, to put themselves, not just put themselves in risk, but protect someone else with their own safety and health. Meaning willing to allow harm to come to them and protect the other one. That is a dhab. And that's why the Imam says, هَلْ مِنْ ذَابٍ يَذُبُّ عَنْ حَرَمِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. My dear brothers and sisters, if people were not able to protect the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with their own lives, if we don't get to that point, we have not matured as human beings. Because then it is either tribal protection of what belongs to me as an individual, my own family and children. That is how selfish one could be, only me. Or even they could go more selfish and put themselves before their own children, their own family. There is one path of purification, another path of lack of purification. If we don't purify, it'll be me, myself, and I, nobody else. Insan by nature, innal insana lafi khusr. By nature, insan who does not purify will be in loss. So we need to purify in order for us to be amongst the winners, to have the good ending. We need to purify. Part of the purification process of insan is to rid ourselves from our ego, from being self-centered, all about me. So therefore, one who gets married, فَقَدْ أَحْرَزَ نِصْفُ دِينِهِ. Why? You get married, half of your faith. Why? Because now you're learning to share with one other person. It's not just about you, it's about both of you. And marriage is a challenge. Why? Because it's a pull between me or us. And those who realize that us is more important than me are those who can make the marriage work and maintain it. And those who maintain their selfishness are those who end up allowing the marriage to break. I'm not saying that there are no exclusions, but this is generally what it is. Comes further the family. You look at a very materialistic approach to the family. I was shocked when I first was in Florida, in some parts of Florida, in St. Petersburg in fact, and was speaking to some people, local people. A friend of mine was a barber, and barbers, you know how people share, they sit at a barber and they speak. Huh? So they were sharing some of their own, lives and their own experiences. Every one of them was bragging about how soon they left their partner after realizing the partner is either pregnant or just about to have a baby or had a baby. So the bragging was about leaving. How soon did you leave? As soon as he found out? Or did he wait until later stages when it became more challenging? Or did he wait until she gave birth? Now, I'm not saying that this is the model of everyone in the society, but this tells you of how a materialistic person becomes so self-centered to the point that even what God has put in us, the love of children, is something that God has put in us. Even that becomes under the, under the khakestar, we say, under the ashes, to the point that you cannot even feel the heat of that love. A parental love is a godly gift. Even that is not felt. Even that is completely ignored. And they live with it because what? Because it's going to take away from their personal time, take away from their convenience, and so on. This is one extreme. And that could also lead to disasters in difficult trials and situations, to the point that some may even be willing to kill innocent children, yes, for their own gains. You're making the links. On the other hand, godly people. One of them stands in front of Imam Hussein alayhi salam as the Imam was praying. He makes his body as the shield of the Imam salawatullah wasalamu alayhi. His own body becomes the shield. They throw arrows. Natural reaction, reflex if you want, of a human being. If something's coming at you, what do? Even without thinking, you move away. What I mean is, these are some natural reactions or reflexes in our body and muscles and mind. Some of them work without even conscious thinking. Our mind does it automatically. Something's coming at your eye from a side, at your face, from the side. Your eye catches it even when it's not in your focus of vision. Why? These are natural things. This man stands and protects the Imam with his own body, puts his own body as the shield. Wherever the arrow is coming, he puts his body to it. Not that he runs away from it or walks away from it or turns away from it. He puts his body to it to protect Imam Hussein alayhi salam. ذاب يذب عن حرمه. These are positions. The highest position is النصرة. ناصر ينصرنا. In the ziyarah of Ansar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Shuhada Karbala. One of the ziyarat we say Assalamu alaikum ya Ansara Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum ya Ansara Amir al-Mu'mineen. You were the ones who were Ansar, and I'm not translating for a reason, of Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Ansar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Aba Abdullah, Bi-abi antum wa ummi. Such a position you have gained that you deserve me to sacrifice the most valuable, even the parents. Sacrifice the most valuable, Bi-abi antum wa ummi. Such a status and position you have gained. Why? Ansar. Ansar here means what? They don't just protect momentarily. They don't just help for a small mission. They don't just help in difficult situations. They are with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Only with him? No, with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Only with him? No, with the 12th Imam Ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu sharif. In a hadith from Rasulullah, in fact the Imam Hussein alayhi salam narrates it from his grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala Muhammad. He says that his grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, those who are willing to help my son Hussein, yansuru bi'anfusihim, with their nafs, with everything valuable to them, with the most valuable to them. Whoever is willing to, are not just with Rasulullah, not just helping Rasulullah, they're also helping the Savior, the Qa'im min Ali Muhammad, Ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. They're not time bound anymore. It happens for some could be even before, and some could be after. And today, we can be amongst Ansar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Condition, it is not just a quick thing that we come and sit in the majlis of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is beautiful. This could be mu'ayyin yu'inuna. Some people go and walk to ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Despite challenges, we're speaking of challenges. Every year there's some sort of a challenge that comes, in the way of ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, especially the Arba'in walk. Some challenges happen. In the last few years it was COVID. Before that it was ISIS. Now I don't know what is coming. Every time there's some challenge. Before them there was, the Saddam, and other enemies of God. There's always a challenge of those who want to. And some will, despite all challenges, despite even cutting off hands at the time of Mutawakkil, they still went and visited Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is a concept of willingness to sacrifice for the Imam, mughith, or even dhab, helping in difficult situations, or even protecting with their own, because they want to keep the memory of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, even if it means I am harmed. But Ansar go beyond that. Ansar, they should become like Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They should want to be with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. You need to imagine, you and I need to imagine ourselves in the presence of the Imam of our time, Ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu sharif. To be amongst the Ansar, that's the condition. Imagine yourself amongst in the presence, amongst the companions, in the company of the Imam of our time, Ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu sharif. Majalis, a lot of people learned the respect of the majalis because they learned that it is the presence of Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha. And don't be doubtful. الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Let's have faith in the unseen. Majalis are. But the rest of the time, when we leave the majlis and we go on with our lives, when we are going to work, university, at school, in the high school, when we're tempted with some haram things around us, something that is haram to look at, something that is haram to listen to, something that is haram to eat, something that's haram to do, whatever it might be, we're confronted with so much temptations around us. When all these temptations come, and I remember that I belong to the school of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and I remember that the Imam of our time is presented with my actions. وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Mu'minun here is the Imam of the time, the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. When I remember that, then I am amongst the Ansar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Because that is when it deters me. I cannot do that. I am in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above all, of course. But I want to be with, for us worldly people, we think of people like us. The best of the best, the Imam of our time, is presented with our actions. I want to be with him. Therefore, I think twice before I do something that is disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is when I can consider myself not just a helper, but amongst the Ansar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. برای اینکه از یاران و انصار امام حسین باشیم، مسئله به مجلس حضور در مجلس امام حسین کفایت نمی کند. به اینکه برای مجلس امام حسین غذا بپزیم یا بیایم حاضر بشیم یا سینه بزنیم یا زیارت امام حسین، اینها همه خوب، اینها همه عالی، ولی در امتحانات زندگی، در مقابل شیطان و در مقابل نفس اماره، در مقابل اینها ایستادن برای رضای خدا و برای عشق به امام حسین علیه السلام و عشق به امام زمان که حاضر است و میبیند اعمال ما به او عرضه می شود، به عشق اینها از لذتهای حرام گذشتن، به حرام نگفتن، اینها ما را از یاران و انصار امام حسین قرار می دهد. اصل بر عمل است، حرف کافی نیست. در مقام عمل باید از انصار امام حسین باشیم در همه حال. In all circumstances. It does not suffice that we do it in the majlis, we dress up in the majlis, we participate, we cook, we help. All of this is beautiful. It is part of it, but it's not all of it. Ansar is beyond the walls of the majalis, beyond being in Karbala or in Ziyara or Najaf to Karbala walk. All of that is beautiful, but Ansar is when somebody comes to me and says there is someone in need, in difficulty, I don't have to think twice, because I know Shaitan will say you will be poor, don't give. And I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say give and I'll multiply it for you. الشيطان يعدهم الفقر والله يعدهم مغفرة منه وفضلا. I know I give, God will forgive me and give me more. In challenges in life is where we can establish whether we are amongst the Ansar or we're not. Wal-'ayadu billah. And we should strive. Every one of us should strive. The call of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is there. You hear it in the most remote parts of the world. Wherever you go, subhanallah, every year it's more and more. Though sometimes we have different gatherings because of some problems we may have with one another, nevertheless, it is causing more gatherings. Although sometimes people have their own plans, but God has another plan. Yeah? More and more people gathering in more and more parts of the world. Every year it is spreading further, hearing the call, هَلْ مِن نَاصِرٍ يَنْصُرُنَا. How many times do you say labbaik, you go to Hajj? How many times from your heart you say labbaik ya Hussein, you become amongst the Ansar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? From your heart. From your heart means it reflects itself in your actions. Al-Iman starts with aqdun bil lisan, starts with your tongue, you say it. Labbaik ya Hussein with your tongue. Yeah? Then it has to be deep in the heart. Keep saying it until your heart feels it. Ash'ir qalbaka. Let your heart feel the need, the desperate need to be amongst those who say labbaik ya Hussein, and don't delay saying it until it's late, until the last moment and I feel, what did I do? How did I waste my life? Say it sooner. And then when the heart says it, the body lives it. The heart of Sa'id says labbaik ya Hussein, his body takes the arrows to protect Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Before Imam Hussein alayhi salam, one of those who eventually joined Imam Hussein, and I want you now to go with your hearts to the Karbala and what happened in Karbala. One of those who joined Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Zuhair. Zuhair ibn al-Qayn narrates, he says that I was with Salman al-Muhammadi or Salman al-Farisi, in one of the battles in a place called Balanjar. Many years before, 30 years or so before Karbala. It was a challenging time and we were victorious. When we were victorious there, and we got obviously ghanaim, you know, everybody gets some booties from the war, some of the belongings of those who fought and were killed from the enemy. So everybody is so happy celebrating. Salman then turned to us and said to us, Salman had ilm taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knew what is coming and what is going to happen from Rasulullah and from Amirul Mu'mineen salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. He was in the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Hani'an lah. Therefore he said to us, he says, Zuhair is narrating, he says, that is when Salman said to us, this is nothing compared to how happy you would be and how much you should celebrate those of you who make it to be with Imam Hussein alayhi salam, with Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. This is victory, yes. Nothing compared to being in that position. What position? We'll come to the day or days leading to Ashura. A position Zuhair also is narrating. There are narrations about how he was avoiding and eventually he joined. Regardless, when he decided that he wants to join, perhaps remembered the statement of Salman. He decided he's joining. When he decided he wants to join, he came to his wife. He said, you are now free. I'm setting you free. Divorced, whatever, I'm setting you free. Go to your family, protect yourself. He says to some of those who were traveling with him, he wasn't a lone traveler. He had people with him. He said to them, whoever is willing to come with me, let's go. You will be killed. I have already set my wife free, knowing I'm going for death. You will be killed. Whoever doesn't want to go, they can stay. But I can tell you that we were with Salman and he shared with us about the greatest victory. فَأَفُوزَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. To be with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Therefore I'm going. And that is why they say when he was reciting Rajaz in the battlefield, when Zuhair was reciting some of the poetry that they recite as they're fighting the enemy, he looked so happy, extremely pleased. His face looked illuminating with light and happiness. It did not look like somebody who's fighting an enemy in the battlefield about to be killed. Nowhere near that. And he came and joined Imam Hussein alayhi salam. From before, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ. Salman was not there, but his heart was there. And on the day of Ashura, some were martyred early. And I want to come to another one. A man who eventually made it. Inshallah, we eventually make it, you and I. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. A man from Basra known as Al-Hafhaf. Al-Hafhaf was a leader in his tribe, Al-Hafhaf al-Rasi. He heard about Imam Hussein alayhi salam needing help. He told his family members to join him. The tribe, every one of them were not ready. Ya Allah, we ask you to make us amongst those who are victorious in our tests, that when the test comes, we are ready, Ya Allah. Al-Hafhaf then left his tribe, left the city of Basra. He heard the Imam is surrounded in Karbala, muhasarun bi Karbala. He joined the night to the days, as they write an expression that he traveled day and night, rushing to make it to Karbala. When he arrived in Karbala, he saw the camp of an army, not sure who was with who. He did not know that not many people responded to the call of Aba Abdullah. And what happened on that day? Looked at a camp that's filled with an army. He came towards them. They asked him who he was. He said, أنا الهفهاف ابن ملهاب. I have come here to help my master Imam Hussein. It was the afternoon of the day of Ashura, yet he made it. They said to him, Imam Hussein, we have already killed him. We killed his loved ones, and these are وَمَا تِلْكَ الْخِيَامِ. He asked, what are these tents? They said, these are the tents of the family of Imam Hussein. تِلْكَ خِيَامُ نِسَاءِ الْحُسَيْنِ. That is when Al-Hafhaf unshielded his sword and started fighting these people. No matter who would come to him, he would send them to hell, until Umar ibn Sa'd yelled at them. He said, this is a man, he is a soldier from the soldier of Ali Amir al-Mu'mineen. You cannot fight him one-on-one. They started attacking him from every angle until he was martyred, Ridwanullah ta'ala alayhi. Ya Allah, allow us to be, though late, amongst those who join the Imam of our time, amongst those who help Imam Hussein alayhi salam. These days, mu'mineen and mu'minat, the family of Abu Abdullah, were eventually brought to Sham. After setting their tents on fire and taking them as captives, as asra, from city to another, they brought them and put them in a khariba, in a ruined place in the city of Sham. Imam Zainul Abidin was asked, what was the most difficult part in your journey, Ibn Rasulullah? 3 times he says, Ash-Sham, Ash-Sham, Ash-Sham. At first they put them in chains, dragging them through the city to the castle of the cursed Yazid. Then they humiliate them in the castle, putting that of Abu Abdullah before them, in front of them, disrespecting that of the Imam. Then they put the family of the Imam in a ruined place that has no ceiling, no roof over them, to protect them from the heat of the days or the cold nights. Salamullah alayhim. In that kharaba, in that ruined place, it was that a daughter of the Imam salawatullah alayhi woke up one night. She woke up asking for her father, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Time and time, again and again, she's asking, I want my father, I want Imam, I want my father Hussein. Eventually, she woke up everyone in the ladies, every one of them crying for the crying of this little child of the Imam salawatullah alayhi. Salamullah alayk ya Abu Abdullah. The daughter of the Imam asked for her father. Perhaps some say she had a dream of her father calling her, saying, Ruqayya, my daughter, come to me. The enemy, the heartless enemy, Yazid Lanatullah alayh, when he realized what was happening, he says to them, take her, the head of her father, let her see the head of her father. They bring her the head covered. As they brought the head, she thought they brought some food. She said, I did not ask for food. They said to her, this is who you asked for. As they uncovered the head of Abu Abdullah, Ruqayya Salamullah alayha threw herself on the head of her father, crying and calling him Abaya Hasan. من الذي حز وریدک چه کسی دختر کوچک تو را یتیم کرده چه کسی سر نازنین بابا را بریده چه کسی محاسن پدر را به خون آلوده کرده من الذی ایتمنی علی صغر سنی. She cried and cried as she was laying on the head of Abu Abdullah. Suddenly Ruqayya was quiet. Imam Zainul Abidin says, Zainab, my sister Ruqayya has departed this world. Remove her from the head of Abu Abdullah. چوب چون بر لبا دندان شهدین میزد خواهر غم زده اش را دمی آرام نبود جست از جا و بمانند پدر راند سخن که نظیرش به سخن در همه ایام نبود اثر از دخترا ویران نشینی باقی است گرچه آن روز چو وی دختر گمنام نبود یا ابا Abdullah, your daughter on that day was unknown. Yazid on that day thought he was victorious. Where is Yazid today? And look at the shrine of Ruqayya Salamullah alayha. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah العلي العظيم إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم إلهي بمحمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين وبالتسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين استجب دعواتنا يا الله يا الله يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك يا Allah. Make us amongst those who are steadfast on the religion, Ya Allah. Grant us the good ending, all of us, Ya Allah. Make us live the life of Imam Hussein and die the death of Imam Hussein, Ya Allah. Grant us in this world the ziyarah of Imam Hussein, and in the hereafter the shafa'ah and the neighboring of the Imam, salawatullah alayhi. Mu'mineen and mu'minat who are unwell, those in difficulty, and those who asked us for dua, Ya Allah, grant them their legitimate hajat, the quick recovery and relief, Ya Allah. Mu'mineen and mu'minat who passed away from our gatherings, especially those who taught us the love of Aba Abdullah, established majalis of Aba Abdullah. Ya Allah, grant all of the lovers of the Imam, those who passed away, abundance of your mercy and the reward of these majalis, Ya Allah. Those who established this majlis, grant them the reward of the nusra, of the support of the Imam, salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات الشهداء والصالحين، إلى أرواح موتى الحاضرين الباذلين المؤسسين. رحم الله من قرأ السورة المباركة الفاتحة تحفها صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله.